for 20 homestead stories. We've got Dean's Greens from North Carolina on tonight. Regenerative farmer. He's got chickens, he's got hemp, he's got honeybees, and he's doing the damn thing, making money off the land. So, we are gonna, without further ado, introduce Nick from Dean's Greens. Welcome.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm stoked to have you here, to have like a real well rounded farmer on the chat. I mean, you've got a lot going on. How about you just introduce yourself and your business and exactly what it is that you are growing?
Sure. So currently, we're a four-season vegetable farm, uh, going through the spring, summer, and fall, and then kind of just coasting through the winter with whatever we planted through the fall. We do pasture-raised meat chickens a few times a year. We're USDA small farm poultry certified, so we can do up to 1,000 birds on the farm. We also have a couple of honeybee hives, and we are USDA hemp certified as well.
All
So,
right, I love that. So
yeah.
you're doing things, you're really going with the seasonal pushes, like having things planned out. I would love to talk about that because like personally, this year was my biggest veggie garden to date. Like I've done tons of weed, but I have grown weed for like 10 years. And so I know that down pat, like SOPs of everything that goes in. And this year I really struggled with timing things because like all my fucking tomatoes and eggplants and tomatillos were like ready at the same time that I needed to get my weed down. And I ended up being like, well, I just gotta freaking let it rot because I need to get my weed down. So, like, what goes into your planning of being able to provide all these different agricultural commodities that are ready at different times? Like, how did you go about choosing what you're growing?
Well, I guess scale helps a lot too. I'm on about a quarter acre for the vegetables and a little under a quarter acre for all the hemp and stuff. So, try to plan that out. And then the vegetables, I get pretty early going. Like I get the starts going in February for even tomatoes and things like that, just to kind of be ahead of stuff and get the hemp and stuff usually in by like late April, May. And it's really just push time and kind of just, how farming is. It's like what's most important at the moment. And having a walk-in cooler usually helps as well. Like just being able to harvest stuff and throw it in there when it's needed to be picked. But yeah, it's really just what's priority, and having animals too really can throw a lot in the mix because their needs are so much different than vegetables. Like vegetables sometimes can wait a little bit, but animals, they need food or water, or the weather is
They're alive.
crazy. Yeah, like you really got to adjust with them, and you know so I found honestly plants can be a little bit more fun and easy than animals, really, because
Yeah, I did my first batch of chickens this year, butchering, harvesting, doing the whole thing. And it was disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, the smell of the chicken after it goes into the boiling water and plucking the feathers was like, ugh, ugh.
do you
I
have a
just,
plucker or were you doing it by
no, I
hand?
was hand plucking those bitches.
Ah, no, no, no. Yeah, I mean, it is funny. It's like you feel you have it in your sinuses for like 2 days of just the smell of like processing exactly that boiling water. It's rewarding. Like this year, usually my parents help me or some family friends help me because we do a few hundred a year. But this year I really just did everything myself. So it was pretty crazy just processing it all, packaging it all, and putting it all in the freezer just by myself. Um,
Yeah, so
so
that's all you then. You're doing the farm. You've got a quarter acre veggies, quarter acre hemp, and then you're marketing and selling it and doing all of the farm work alone, solo.
essentially, yeah, if I need a bigger project, like my parents have the tractor, so a few times a year I'm like, using the tractor for bigger stuff. But like, and they helped me build the farmer's friend tunnels and stuff. But really, mainly day to day stuff is just me plotting what's going to be planted when, and harvesting and processing everything really. So Hmm.
Somebody had a question. Cat Lady had put it up on the stream and I didn't read it in time, but is this the same as permaculture, a closed loop system? So, yeah, I guess explain to those who aren't super familiar with what regenerative farming, explain your farming methods to everybody listening and why it's superior.
Yeah, sure. So I just try to stay as natural as possible, not buying any chemical fertilizers for the vegetables, making my own natural inputs, using JADAM techniques, mainly using JADAM liquid fertilizers. So that's just kind of using old plant residue in water and using that water um, as fertilizer supplemental to the plants. And then also with the animals, we don't use any, vaccines or pharmaceuticals for any of the animals. So they all use organic feed and they're all on pasture. Um, so really just using the manure from the chickens as well and the vegetables. So exactly just kind of closing all the loops that need to be closed rather than trying to go off the farm and source different inputs.
So are you completely like 100% producing your fertilizers on farm? Do you
Yeah, I
buy
have
anything?
not really. I mean, if anything, it might be stuff like from Build a Soil or something like that, like, like some stuff that I just can't make. But pretty much I would say 98% of the stuff that I'm watering into the plants and um spraying and stuff like that is made by me on the farm.
Damn, that's impressive. So, what inspired you to do that then? Like to go full force in the natural fertilizers and like what was your inspiration?
So I have a background in food and beverage. I grew up in a wedding venue. My parents own a wedding venue. So growing up just kind of cooking food and seeing where all our food is coming from and have a different perspective really, I guess, on that. So before starting the farm in 2018, I was a food and beverage manager at a country club at the coast here in North Carolina, and my buddy was working on a organic farm, and we were buying our produce and different stuff from him and microgreens and stuff. So I just pretty much got tired of doing the hospitality life and moved back home with mom and dad and took a little plot of land and started farming. So I guess just seeing all where our food comes from and being more conscious than the average person, uh, really kind
Yeah.
of drives that mentality.
I feel that. I was in hospitality industry for a while too. Also worked in weddings, ski resorts, served food, and that was one of the things that like I would say like my conscious, awareness, my journey for enlightenment began with food originally. Like when I was probably 21, I got really hardcore into like your body is a temple and like what you put into it is super important, but like I was spending $200 an ounce on organic weed. So I was like, instead of growing food, because I could buy organic food, I could, but I couldn't grow organic weed were way cheaper versus the food thing. So that was kind of the same inspiration for me, but on the weed journey. So let's talk about that hemp though. Like, so what's your relationship then with weed, hemp, food? How does this all intersect with each other?
I mean, to me, yeah, like cannabis and food definitely go hand in hand. Just from enjoying both of them and being able to harvest them off your own land and yeah, exactly, not have to pay a pretty penny for high end stuff. Like I have a buddy, Tennessee Terp farmer. He just got a couple freezers for me that he's going to wash some honey banana and GMO Donny burgers. So just knowing where my concentrates are coming from and just yeah, just knowing where everything is going into your body and just I mean, yeah, the weed is more chemical laced than the food, and you're paying so much money for it. It's ridiculous. So um
Have you had the honey banana before?
just the flower, and I've had some rosin from a buddy, but I haven't had it from my own grow.
Nice. My buddy,
Hmm.
AJ, He does the honey banana often, washes it. I smoked some of that rosin with him not too long ago. I got lit. That stuff is, I was very, very high. Very tasty, washes well. And then anything with the GMO in it is going to wash well. And is Donny Burger got hash burger in it? Or what's up with the Donny Burger? Do you know lineage on that?
I believe so. I just know it kind of gives the GMO more just kind of volume and yield, and kind of sped up the growth. Like it didn't have to go like 10 weeks. It kind of made it a little bit quicker outdoor. Honestly, it was nice.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
So that is regular weed, or that's hemp,
I mean, it's all
right?
under the THCA USDA hemp situation.
Okay, so
So
that's what I really, really want to talk about right now because, and I probably should have said that, but like I'm excited to talk to you about the hemp bill because this has just been freaking a lot of people out, a lot of hemp growers. What are your thoughts? So, with this new budget bill, the government was shut down, fucking blah, 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 a bunch of politicians with their thumbs up their ass. And then they slipped in Mitch McConnell slipped in language that would change the farm bill to ban intoxicating derivatives of hemp like THCA, Delta 9, whatever. After he was paid like $1 million from the alcohol lobbyists, like the day before, and he put that in there and then it passed. And so we have until November 26th for business as usual, but I've been seeing people getting cracked down already, shops getting raided. So like the gas station weed that they call so-called, THCA stuff, which is essentially right. Cannabis and hemp are the same fucking plant, but for legal purposes they've been separated. And now what does this look like for your business? Like what are you thinking?
I mean, North Carolina is, I feel like, going to be more progressive on trying to nail down their own state legalization here in the coming years. So I think this is just going to kind of push that, which to me, I guess it can go either way. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be better for small farmers if the state just does it right, because like there's a lot of nice high end glass shops and dispensaries in North Carolina in particular that have nice high end flower and high end concentrates and stuff like that. And then there is the gas station weed and just like kratom stores and CBD and stuff like that. But there are really a lot of people that are professional and trying to make a good model for the state. And yeah, with the whole hemp bill, I think it's really the alcohol lobby, obviously, with a lot of the hemp drinks that are getting distributed to like grocery stores and stuff. I think that is, I was listening to somebody the other day talk about it, and it made a lot of sense. Like the hemp drinks are using the alcohol distribution pipelines, and it's like tapping into the alcohol itself. So they're losing market share with their own distribution systems, if that makes sense. Because it's kind of like here in North Carolina at Lowe's Foods, it's like a big grocery store chain. You can buy, THC drinks and it's going mainstream like that. So I kind of just think that the alcohol industry is realizing how low their market share for alcohol drinkers is getting, and they're just yeah, they're just trying to
So
make a last
what,
ditch
okay,
effort.
like your hemp, are you growing it for isolate then? Or
Um,
what is it going towards? Like flower, isolate, what's the tinctures? What are you doing with your hemp?
it goes for finished flour and for concentrate, so like
Okay.
live rosin and yeah.
So you're not worried about like the legality of selling your product next year?
No, I mean, like you said, we have a year to figure it out, and I think it's really just going to push states that have been teeter-tottering on legalization themselves. Because North Carolina, the new governor, he came in and like the first week he was talking about cannabis reforms and different stuff like that. So I think it's just going to really push states that have been kind of like, what do we do with this whole hemp situation? They're going to try to like push to be just full wreck or some kind of situation like that. Like Virginia, they have been full wreck for a couple years, and they were worried about which governor they were going to get, the Democrat or the Republican. And the Democrat got in, and everybody's happy. They're going to keep continuing with more small business in the rec league, in a sense. So
So is in North Carolina there's no weed like laws. Like it's weed, regular weed, whatever is illegal.
there's a very small medical system, and I actually know someone personally that is in it. Their daughter has epilepsy, so they can get a really strong tincture, and they have to like go through this rigorous process and get the tincture from out of state and all this stuff. But yeah, there's really no
So
rec
there's no
program.
dispensaries. There's no like, you just go get your card and you can go to the dispensary for cannabis. It's hemp stuff
Yeah.
right now. Okay.
Hmm.
So would it, I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with politics there, but like what I'm hearing, the chatter is like most weed, like cannabis, licensed cannabis business owners don't want hemp farmers to sell THCA products because they want you guys to go through the licensing process and get a cannabis like framework in your state so that because what's happening is like a lot of places in with the federal loophole, at least not, we're not talking state specific, like a bunch of mids are getting overproduced in places like California, Oklahoma, Oregon, Washington, and getting shipped out across the country as THCA, flooding the market with lower quality products. And
Hmm.
that so the smaller businesses like you who are growing in your state are like suffering economically, right? Because we have these multi-state operators that are just producing millions of pounds a year and being like, oh, well, I can backdoor this as THCA. Because for those of you who don't know, THCA and hemp versus cannabis, it's all the same thing. THCA, all flower is mostly high THCA until it's burned and then it converts to THC. Are you doing anything to like because I know some THCA growers or people who are selling THCA, they're cannabis farmers in California and then they're selling their shit in Georgia, and they're like cutting down early and freeze drying their weed so that it passes the testing, so that it's at that under that threshold of THC versus THCA. Are you doing anything special for your crop to be testing under the legal whatever limit? Or is it, what's it like there?
I mean, essentially, yeah, that's it's all just a mental loophole game essentially at the moment, so as long as you have a COA, um, you're in the
That
clear.
has the right numbers on it. Doesn't really matter if it's
Yeah, I mean, 100%. That's pretty much how it's rolling right now. But that's kind of what I meant with the like glass house type people selling a whole bunch of stuff all over the country, and that's why I think it's going to help small farmers within the different states because, like, for example, like right now, for me to sell at a store like high grade finished flower, they can buy from distributors like super nice depths for like 500-600 bucks a pound, or like super nice indoor for like 1,000 a pound.
mm-hmm.
And that they I just can't compete necessarily like on the finished flower just because of all the distribution. And like I have a family friend that has a few shops that will buy just because it's local and people ask for it. But as a whole, like the finished flower market is taken up by those distribution companies. But the rosin and like live resin is honestly a lot more local. There is some like out west and other big MSO concentrate, but you just people that want that, you can't get the quality like that. So that is a big advantage that a lot of small farmers have been having, is just having really small batch like concentrate to be able to have for the market.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been talking to people in North Carolina saying that they found prices for rosin for $3.50 an ounce. I was like, what the freaking flip? That's
Yeah, that's
so,
nuts.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
So
usually,
are
I mean,
you
I'm
gonna?
aiming for a little more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm aiming for at least 600, but
Exactly. That's about the
allegedly.
ticket. Exactly.
So are you gonna do anything like I love the hustle. I'm a weed grower, you know, so hemp farmer, weed grower is the same shit. What but what about like hemp for other things? Like do you have that in your mind for the future of like, you know, textiles or bioplastics or clothing or anything that this plant can do so many fucking amazing
Hmm.
things. And I think that we're stuck on the flour and the ingestibles because that's like obviously our passion, and we're a bunch of probably stoners. I'm assuming you're a stoner. um and but like exploring the possibilities of the future technologies and advancements of hemp, is that in your future at all, or what do you think of that?
I would love to be a part of it. It's definitely in my thoughts and hopes for the future. There is a lot of industrial size hemp farms in North Carolina that grow for textile and it's like hempcrete, building houses out of concrete made out of hemp and stuff. That's fireproof. Um, so all of that is really awesome. I personally just don't have the capital to get into something like that just because of the scale, but I would love to be a part of something like that someone's doing to that. And it's funny because when the hemp bill in 2018 passed, a lot of tobacco growers in North Carolina switched over to hemp, and I mean they just had like no idea what was going on. But one of my friends had 17 acres that he just changed from tobacco into CBD and had like 10,000 pounds of finished flower and had no idea what he was going to do with it. So it's crazy to see that side because you're 100% correct. Everybody's so focused on the cannabinoid sector of the market, trying to just make money in that. But there honestly is so much less people in the other sectors that there's the money is there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
So.
think you're right though. It's all about scale though, scales of economy, because we're at this point where like, you know, most agricultural commodities have been, it's like what is that? Get big or get out kind of a thing, where they're growing thousands of acres of wheat and corn and soy and things that you need like a large amount because I don't even know what a bushel of wheat costs, like $50 or something. Um and so, like with hemp, you probably have to have similar, because what is a freaking textile worth? You know what I mean? Like, sure, hemp
Hmm.
clothing is a lot more expensive than other kinds of clothing, but like, it's not, you're still having to grow probably hundreds of acres to make the worth your time. And we don't even really have a lot of infrastructure in place yet for converting it and processing it into like hempcrete or textiles or bioplastics. It's like we've got to have the investment and the money in there, but everyone's chasing the cannabinoids because, you know what, we're even $1,000 a pound for indoor or whatever, like 500 for depths. It's like no other agricultural commodity is bringing those prices. Maybe like saffron, I guess.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and just like it's like, why are we subsidizing corn and all these other things and just trying to make products with them just because we're subsidizing it? We could subsidize those same farmers and with similar equipment, because exactly the economies of scale, their equipment is so expensive. You have to do so many acres just to pay for your equipment, and if we could just subsidize it somehow to make, not that I'm a huge fan of subsidies or anything, but if we're already doing it, we can redirect it into a way, and you know just we have to have some kind of outlet as well for the amount of textile
Yeah.
and everything like that. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing. Instead of polyester clothing, we can have hemp clothing and just have, the use for that go that way.
Well, and that's a huge thing that I'm like on this journey right now. Well, as I'm wearing a fucking polyester shirt, probably with my sports athletic clothes. I'm really trying to phase out my closet and like everything that is polyester because that is made out of fossil fuels. That is literally oil based, petroleum based clothing. And so we're seeing like our, fertility rates dropping because we're wearing polyester underwear. Men's balls are basically wrapped in plastic and have microplastics and their sperms getting affected, endocrine disruption, all kinds of skin issues. I mean, our skin is the largest organ and it absorbs everything. So imagine if we are wearing, like plastic oil based clothing and it's super hot and we're sweating in it and everything is a molecule and it's slowly breaking down and entering into our bloodstream, into our systems. And so like thinking about like how that affects you, your health, your energy, your chi, it's really amazing. Like your frequency wearing like, polyester synthetic clothing compared to natural clothing and the effect that it has on your health and overall well-being is amazing. And so like how do we, but that conversation isn't even really like, it's starting. I'm seeing more natural clothing companies for sure. And like I switched out, I think your bedding is such an important thing that you're sleeping in 12 hours, like get some, your underwear, your bedding, just things that you're using in intimate private areas, like that should be at the forefront of the natural clothing. But like I've been looking at trying to start a hemp underwear brand, and like everyone that I'm talking to, you can't even get it in America because there isn't hemp processing here and it's so expensive. Most of these companies are having it made in warehouses in China, which are probably slave labor. So it's like, oh, what are you giving
You're like
up? Like,
defeating
oh,
the
I've got,
purpose. Yeah.
yeah, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have natural clothing, but it's made by freaking slaves on meth in a factory that aren't
Exactly.
allowed to leave from,
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's just market. The market demand will drive the change that needs to happen, and it's just that's the key. People need to want it for them to produce a bunch of it. So
Yeah, but then it's like, how do you get people to want it when they're manipulating our economy by injecting fake money, raising prices, buying all of our homes, having it owned, and manipulating markets? I mean, like Bitcoin, fucking BlackRock sold off like millions of dollars. They had some whales drop $1 billion to drop the price, and then they're going to go back in and buy things up. And then people get scared and their money, everything's so volatile. So it's like, you put the government, which is being controlled by what, like these six companies, that are in tobacco, that are in alcohol, that are in oil, that are in paper or whatever fucking wood is, lumber, there's the word. And like they are manipulating our lives because they have brainwashed us into independent, like kick your kid out at 18, go have them start their own life and don't help them pull themselves up by their bootstraps to limit generational wealth. They're dividing us with party lines, creating fake narratives so that we're just arguing with each other, poisoning us with chemtrails in our water and our soil. Our food is depleted of nutrients. We're addicted to our phones. They literally have frequency pollution. All kinds of shit is being bombarded on us. And how can we even have the capacity, like, to be thinking, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to spend $100 on this shirt because it's made out of hemp. You know what I mean? Like, it's so
hmm
hard to do what is right because we are just trying to survive. We're in like the fight or flight mode. I know that there are people who are, different levels of stability and wealth and economics, but for the most part, it's like there's a reason why this is the 1% and there's 99% of us who are like not able to just do whatever the fuck we want when we want. We got to think about like how much shit costs and have a budget. And
hmm
that's like, so how do we, I always say like vote with our dollar, right? So like supporting small farms like you, like Hey, and speaking of, are you shipping? What are you selling your shit? How can everyone listening support you? Because this is what we're about. This is the community mycelium, attaching, connecting, sharing resources. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm trying to do. So do you ship, or what's going on? Where can people get you?
If you're in North Carolina, you can definitely. I can't ship meat outside of North Carolina just because of USDA stuff. But I mean, if you're in North Carolina, we can definitely connect. And I have produce and honey and pasture raised meat and everything. So and then I do ship. I can ship USDA hemp products. Like I do make a CBD balm, like a body balm. So I ship that and just products as well. So
Can we
um,
do a giveaway?
sure.
I didn't ask you this before, but every guest I try to have a giveaway, and I totally spaced that. Whatever you want to give away, will think of a question that you want them to guess, like, how many, I don't know, chickens did you kill this year, or hemp plants did you grow? I don't know. Think of a question, and then we'll have them in like 30 minutes at the end of the hour. So that people, if you're listening, you got to stay till the end. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, all of the things. But we'll do that at the end. So think about it, what you want to ask, and then we'll tune into that and give somebody something away, and that'll get, people encouraged to hopefully buy. So let's pull up your website actually, so people can see. I've got it right here. Let's see if I can share screen. Okay. All right. So we've got Dean's Greens, locally grown and hand delivered. So you're delivering your products to, you said restaurants, right?
I have one restaurant that still buys
Okay.
stuff. I've had a pretty much pivot over the years. Like I had a handful of restaurants before COVID. Like I started doing microgreens and had restaurants doing that and other produce. And then once COVID hit, I pretty much started doing direct to consumer boxes and kind of just farm pickup and stuff like that.
Okay. So like CSA boxes.
Yeah, not as formal as CSA, but yeah, same premise.
Nice. You got all kinds of stuff. Strawberries. Do you do any you pick, or what's up with that?
No, no you pick. I don't have as much space for you pick, but I was doing last year I was having a market on the farm every week, so I was having an on farm market because I don't do too many farmers markets off the farm, just for sake of time and everything. But
So this is your farm right here, farm overhead. Gosh, I want it to stop so I can go back.
yes, that's
Um,
the vegetable operation. So I have 4 50-foot farmers friend tunnels, and then the outdoor field space, and then kind of across the way I have where I do all the hemp and stuff.
what about the chickens? Oh, there's the chickens. Where are they?
I
On the
do
farm, are
them.
they?
Yeah, I'll do them around. You can kind of see in that picture.
Okay.
That was an older style pen that I had, but I kind of just do them on pasture around the vegetables or around my house. I have a bunch of acres that I just kind of pull them around every
What
day.
breed of chickens are you doing?
The Cornish cross. So
Okay.
they are, yeah.
They grow really fast. Do their legs break?
No, I think keeping them on the pasture and moving them around helps. Out of 100, you might have a handful that just grow too quick and something happens to them. But for the most part, I haven't had too much trouble with them. They really don't like the cold or the rain, so I try to stick to like later spring, summer, and fall runs.
And so with
Um,
those, how long are they in their pasture before you move them? Are you moving them like how many days, between
so they're in the
movements?
brooder as chicks for about 2 weeks, and then I put them on pasture. So I guess from week 3 to week 8 of life. So they're on pasture for like 6 7 weeks, and they're moved daily, sometimes twice a day.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Dang. And you're just hand moving them. You're like, oh, I'm working on the farm, weeding, doing my thing, and then I got to move my chickens. And
Yep. Yep. Usually move
okay.
them in the morning and then move them in the late afternoon.
What do you feed
Usually just
them?
when they're older. There's like an organic, non-GMO, a local feed that I use, and just use that as supplement. And then we have a bunch of food scraps that we'll throw them, and and
Cool. So you do
yeah.
consulting as well. So everybody
Hmm.
listening, if you want a virtual consult, $50 and he will give you 45 minutes tailored to your garden questions and help you get set up to grow. And then 75 for in-person visit and $400 for a garden design. That's awesome. So are you helping people then design like their gardens for whatever they want, or you like, is there a specialty that you focus on, or what's like?
Yeah, I would say more of the homestead, home scale, just kind of showing people the basics of what they could do with raised beds if their yard isn't conducive to in the ground, and kind of just simple irrigation techniques and stuff like that to make their life easy. Because that's to me the biggest struggle with people trying to get into even just growing at home is, one, they just don't know where to start, where to get seeds or anything like that. And then just techniques that, we've learned over the years. Like, it's, idealistic to hand water your garden every day, but if you have drip lines, it's going to be a lot better on your life, someone that's not a farmer. So it kind of just keeps their interest in growing, and keeping that mindset in their head, because it's easy to get discouraged growing stuff, and then you're just like, screw it, like I'll just buy it, I'll just go to the grocery store. Like, you don't get that intrinsic value from growing it if it's too hard, you know what I mean? So
100%. Yeah. No, that's really awesome. We're all here trying to help each other grow more. I think that that is one of the biggest ways that we can say fuck you to the government. And it's like, grow your own food, be as self sufficient as possible, and then trade with each other, barter, give those goods and services. Like, whatever, maybe like one of the things that I like to do, I've got chickens, but they're not laying right now. I think it's just because it's so dark, so early. It's dark at like 4 o'clock here and doesn't get light until 7 something. So their
hmm.
photo period kind of is off. But my friend down the road, he's got lights and like heat, and they're in like a barn, inside. So they're laying. We traded last week for moonshine and weed and jam, and he gave me some squash. And it's like, being able to separate your goods and services out of the centralized banking system is such a wonderful way to, like I said, say fuck you to the government, because there's no taxes involved, there's no transaction fees, there's no taxes. I said that again, but really, like,
Yeah,
reducing our
emphasize that.
taxes as much as possible is like the best thing that you can do. And then like where we're voting with our money, right? Where we want to spend it. So that's pretty awesome. I love what you're doing. Thanks so much for taking time and hanging out with us and telling us about everything you've got going on. I know that we've been following each other on Instagram for a while, and I shared on the screen your Instagram, Dean's Greens, and see, so everyone follow him along. And then the website name was also Dean's Greens, NC.com. Um, and so you said you're not doing any farmers markets, but you do a local market during the summer at your farm, or what?
Yeah, I did it last year, just on the farm. I would have different vendors come out. Like, I have a friend, she would make jewelry, and just have, I had a baker come out, and just, because people really are wanting to know where their food is coming from. So, uh, like, there's so many local farmers markets in towns. I feel like it's so saturated, and people are just yearning for actually going to the farm and seeing where their stuff is coming from. So that worked out well. And then we have me and my wife, we have a 22-month-old daughter, so we've kind of just had to pivot as she grows and life goes, because we just watch her all the time, really. We both work from home. So, um, you know,
I
farming is all
know
about pivoting.
children
So,
change everything. But, farming is such a wonderful thing to teach your kids, and it is something that you can do with your kids there. I have pictures of Enzo at, 9 months old in a cardboard box in my garden where he's just chilling there while I'm weeding. I wore him, he was there for all of the harvests, hanging weed, freaking do it, just everything. Like he's been a part of it. And how do you, I mean, this is like kind of a personal question, I guess, but like, how do you feel about like when is your child going to go to school or are you going to homeschool? I guess is the first question.
gonna homeschool.
Okay. Yeah, same. So
Hmm.
I homeschool, but he does go to farm school like twice a week, and we're looking into homeschool co-ops. And I do like, occasionally worry. I mean, it like just the judgment, I guess, of like having him involved in all of the processing and all of the weed stuff because I don't care and I believe that that is important, but I do know other people care and are judgmental, especially where I'm at in the great north. I'm on the Idaho border where it's still completely illegal. Hemp's illegal here. Like I'm in Washington, but we're in Idaho a lot. And like, I don't know, like, what do you feel like? How are you going to talk about that with your child as they get older and like talk to other people about, what you do and that kind of a thing? Has that crossed your mind or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just explain it as it's just natural. It's from the earth. It's just like any of the other plants that are in our garden. Food is medicine. This plant is medicine. We can use it for so many other things, just like we were talking about. Um, and you just have to know in your heart that you're doing the right thing, and you really can't worry about what other people think. That I mean, that's been solidified with me with having a child. You really can't worry about what other people think because everybody's going to tell you how to parent and do this and that. So you just have to do what is best in your eyes, and if you're a good person, and I mean, what is a good person? But if you're emulating a good person on the outward, other people should be able to see that and know what you're doing is right. It's not you're not doing something schemy or sketchy. You're just trying to further the goodness, really.
I love that. That is a wonderful answer. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm always curious what other people's, because I'm very much the same. Like, I'm a good person. So I always say, I'm doing God's work. This plant was given to me by God. Like, He gave us all of the seed bearing plants, animals, everything for us to take care of on this planet. So that's just me doing
Hmm.
my God given duty, taking care of these plants. Um, but like everyone has their own story, their own opinion, their own feelings about it, and I think that as long as you stand with conviction and your truth, like you said, like that what you're doing is right. I know what I'm doing is right, that it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks. And then like having those conversations like with people and hopefully coming from a place of like empathy and kindness and like maybe like you're just misunderstanding, if you do have some kind of opinion that's different than me, like how can we come to uh you know an agreement or agree to disagree or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
just like
And I think that's
takes all
why
kinds.
CBD is so good because, in my life, I've introduced CBD to people that wouldn't, smoke or do anything like that. And it's helped them in their life. Especially with the CBD balm that I make, like I've given it to people and it's helped different skin stuff, or they've had aches and it's gone away, and they're like, "Oh wow, that really worked," or whatever. That was that weed plan or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's you don't have to use it this way or that way, or but just showing people that it doesn't have to be psychoactive, and then it kind of opens their eyes like, oh, okay, maybe the psychoactive part is also healing if this non psychoactive property helped my knee or whatever. And then pets too. I'll make big batches of CBD infused coconut oil and give it to our dogs and stuff. And my parents had a really big Rottweiler, and he wasn't able to go up and down the stairs. And like the day that we gave it to him, he was able to go up and down the stairs and prolonged his life a couple more years. So just showing people different stuff like that will, I think, open their eyes to the plant.
Yeah, 100%. The proof is in the pudding. If more people would just try it and be open-minded. But again, that comes from the government wanting to control us and control the narrative and program us with propaganda. And it was all because of money, because cannabis, hemp could outcompete the lumber industry, the oil industry. I mean, you can make a car out of it. You can create fuel out of it. You can eat from it. You can clothe yourself, you can heal yourself, and that doesn't go with the agenda of a sick, divided population. And like, we could be growing, it blows my mind, like, our founding fathers grew hemp, and it was mandatory that all farms in America had to grow hemp to an extent. And like, we have endocannabinoid systems in us, and that's not even taught. Like in school, I remember taking anatomy, physiology, and like being taught all of the systems of our body, our vascular system, blah blah blah. Never once did it ever talk about the endocannabinoid system. That was not even touched on. And that's a huge reason why my son is not going to public school, because public school system is, the textbooks are owned by McGraw-Hill, which is owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's father. The whole Epstein shit, this nasty pedo elitists are the ones that are controlling the narrative of the public school systems, and they were
Yeah.
built off of the prison system, based off of the prison system. There's reasons they use specific colors and lighting. Everything is a manipulation to create a downtrodden, like, worker. Like, raise your hand to go to the bathroom. That's so degrading. What human, like, what animal is like, I'm not allowed to pee for an hour, you've already gone pee? What if you have to pee twice? I have a small bladder. Like, that seems so crazy to me,
Oh
that
yeah.
you're gonna force a child to be embarrassed through that, or have an accident or something. It's just bullshit. um I'm super proud of you guys for doing what you're doing, and like homeschooling your child, growing things the right way. I mean, it's amazing that you're producing all of your own fertilizers, and everything's closed loop. Do you so you're pasturing your chickens, then moving them every day, so their poop is then giving the nitrogen and phosphorus back to the ground. Are you planting on those spaces, or is it just surrounding it?
It's just surrounding it. When I started the vegetable area, I had the chickens on there, and then kind of just built the high tunnels and the space on that. And then really now they're just kind of on pasture and just kind of fertilizing the grass and stuff. And it's cool to take drone shots of the progression of it, and you can kind of really see where they were moved to like a week ago, and see the progression of the green of the grass, following them
Mm-hmm.
along.
That is cool. Yeah, chickens are can be a pain in the ass if they get into your garden. That's for sure. They scratch everything
Yes.
up and ruin all kinds of plants. Um, so
Yep.
let's talk about your fertilizer inputs. Like, what are you consistently making on farm, and that you have to have, like, every season, like your SOP kind of a thing? What do you got? What's in your lineup? Your rotation?
Um, it's really just hardcore on the JLF. So I have like a handful of 60-gallon barrels, and just make a bunch of JADAM liquid fertilizer out of like the early spring like grasses, and then like all the hemp residue just goes all in there. And just I have specific barrels too. So like some stuff will be for the vegetables, and some stuff will be just for um the hemp plot. And just really keeping up with that is the
So what are
main
you,
thing.
what's specific? Are you like, for the hemp plot, are you only using hemp residue then? Or what's your difference between the barrels?
Yeah, I would say it'd be like 80% hemp, and then like grass and stuff like that. And for the hemp specific, and then for the vegetable specific, it might have like if I clear out all the tomatoes, I'll throw like the tomato stuff in there, or like um, so the barrels can vary what it has more of what, you know what I mean? But I try to specify vegetable and hemp. And then if I even want to go further, sometimes I'll have flowering like barrels and like vegetative barrels um, for the different
So
plant
then
stages.
you're just using like so for this year I did an fermented plant juice or fermented fruit juice, kind of similar. I don't know. Like I did apples and flowers, and I did brown sugar on it though. Or you're not putting sugar, you're just doing water, right?
Yeah, I just fill up like a 60-gallon pickle barrel, and then I'll take like a bunch of leaf mold microbes that I'll grab from the woods, throw it in there, um, and then all the residue, and then it pretty much just works like that. Yeah, I'll do more JADAM stuff than KNF because I really
Yeah,
haven't
KNF
gone into
uses the
KNF
sugar,
stuff.
Jadam is the non-sugar, right? Just like all the free stuff. So
Yep.
you're doing vegetative would be like things that are in the vegetative growth cycle. So you'd have a barrel that is just like vegetative growth cycle, then you're using that as your vegetative fertilizer. And so from my understanding, this is actually a biostimulation of the plant hormones as well, because there's a concentrated amount. Specific hormones in the plant are manipulating the chemical reaction of what the plant is producing. And so if you're like using plant material that is in that phase of growth, then it's going to biologically stimulate more of the hormones that control that phase of growth. Whereas, like, uh, you know, ethylene is more associated with finishing and flowering and sweetening. And so it'll be more present in the fruiting and flowering parts of plants. So then, if you're making your JLF with those parts of the plants, then it's going to biologically stimulate more of the ethylene production to help finish or flower or whatever you're growing, and kind of that direction. So not only is it like the chemical composition of the NPK and all other 21 essential minerals, but also the hormones that are present in the plant that are manipulating or controlling that phase of growth. So, like, having the separate barrels is a really cool idea. And I wish the smell for me and the look and the just isn't my, I'm like, oh, I always forget about it or it looks gross. And then I'm like, I don't want to use this. I don't want to deal with this.
Oh, I mean,
What
if
are
it hits your
you?
skin, it's over. Like as you smell it like it for 3 days. So you like yeah, I mean, you gotta wear gloves and just kind of be careful with it, but that's how you know it's working.
The
And it's
smell.
crazy because if you do like a really heavy dose in the garden, it'll just smell like the fertilizer all over. Um, but yeah, I mean that's essentially the theory. You're trying to get those hormones and drive the plant. Because if you give the plant too much nitrogen when it's flowering, you definitely can see it green up and it can come out in the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So like that specific barrel, you're trying to not use. You're just trying to drive the plant to what you're wanting at the stage of
What's your price
growth.
per pound? How can you like what do you can you produce a pound for?
Honestly, I'd have to do the full numbers, but I mean, it's essentially nothing really. I mean, I have all the bed. I mean, it's like I have all the beds made. Besides, like really, I would account like fixed costs, like if you're using a tractor and your infrastructure more or less, because and then like like I said, I'll buy different stuff that I want, like from you know people that make things um like trichoderma or like Bacillus subtilis, like different stuff like
Like
that I might buy from
bacteria, yeah.
people.
So are you
But
using Bacillus and Trichoderma for IPM?
mainly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Same. I use those products. I buy mine, just so you know, from this company called Custom Biologicals, and they are out of Florida. And you can get a like little bottle like this that covers, I think, like 2.5 or 5 hectares of land, so like 10 acres, and it's like $30. And it's highly
Nice.
concentrated, super affordable because he makes it for conventional or like main agriculture. Whereas I notice like the Build a Soil, the Brandon Rust, the weed people charge way more for these products that you can get like from regular farmers for way cheaper. So I don't know where you just
100%.
mentioned Build a Soil, and while I've bought things from them before, I just find that the green tax or the weed tax is just like too much for where the price of weed is at right now. But
Yeah,
um
like they're great for like small scale tent growers or something. But yeah, for us, like trying to actually grow and farm, yeah, that's cool. I'll have to get that link from you then. That's perfect.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the hour, so let's come up with a guessing game. So we've got 19 people listening right now. So you guys all need to guess a number of what? What are they guessing?
How many hemp plants I grew this year?
All right, everybody put it in there. Remember, he's got a 1/4 acre of hemp. So how many plants? And can we also give them how many pounds did you produce this year?
Well, I'm still working on it. I'm still
Okay.
working on it, but we'll say it was planted dense. So I used
Okay. All
trellising and
right.
it was planted dense. So,
Sea of green kind of a thing.
hmm
All right, everybody. So guess your numbers. I've got 18 people. Somebody just dropped off. You don't want to win fucking hemp CBD bomb? What the hell?
Come on,
Okay.
people.
Come on. You got like should we do okay, so somebody says 400. Lucas Non says 448. We've got
Okay,
18
okay.
more, 17 more people. Come on, type it in. What do you think? What you have a chance to win. All right, we
Mm.
got 300. We got 2,222. I like
Whoa.
the twos there. 650. Um
Mm. Got some close ones.
1 million pounds. We're not guessing the pounds. We're guessing the
1
plants.
million. Hey, I wish if I could pull 1 million pounds off a 1/4 acre.
Oh
Give me the
man.
secret.
6,000 plants. How many plants did he grow on his 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 acre? Um 10,890. I like that. 444. Yes, my boy Homestead Acre coming in with the number of love. I can't even imagine the size. The size, a 1/4 acre. Acre is what,
It's like 10,000 square feet.
445,580 square feet. So a 1/4 acre, yeah, is 10,120 square feet or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
Okay. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It keeps jumping up. I don't know. Anybody last guesses? No, if I'm gonna do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we had one last person say 100 plants. What is the number?
300. Somebody guessed
300
right on it.
plants. Let's see here. Who? Oh, the School of Crop. Hell yeah. School of Crop. He guessed 300. I gotta let you know a little bit about the School of Crop because this is like an inspiration. I inspired myself with this story. I made a reel like maybe a month ago or 2 months ago about USDA rural development. So I have my real estate license. If anybody is buying anything, holler at your girl. And I was talking about like resources for farmers and homesteaders trying to gain access to land without down payments. And he reached out to me on Instagram and said that he was qualified for USDA rural development, but he couldn't find anything that would qualify or be eligible for this loan. And he was just having like not good luck. And I got on the phone with him And I was like, yo, like, let's figure this out. I'm like a pit bull. I do not give up. I will figure out, we'll find something for you. And literally, I found him a realtor and I sent him a property he had looked at, but I had put it in the eligibility map. And he made an offer the next day, and they accepted it. And he's getting
Nice.
a place to grow and have his chickens and his garden and all of the things to do what we're talking about, what we love doing. So thank you,
That's
School of
awesome.
Crop, for giving me the opportunity to help you. And that's what I'm about, is how can we connect and help each other achieve our dreams and detach from the system. Fuck the man. Grow your own food, grow your own medicine, take care of each other, be a good person, be more like Jesus or Buddha or whoever it is that you believe is a great person. Dean, be more like Dean, Big Dean. And, just give back, resonate what you want and give it out to the world. So without further ado, we're going to say goodnight. And so School of Crop, I have his number and I have his, I love that. Be more like Dean. Yes.
The new motto.
Yeah. We'd have to make a hemp shirt that says that.
Exactly.
So I'll connect you with his phone number and Instagram, and you guys can chat, and you can send him the balm. Thank you so much for donating CBD stuff for the cause and coming on and chatting with me tonight. It was my pleasure to get to finally put a face to the name and connect with you through this platform.
Of course, same here. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and we will be back next Monday with another farmer, another weed grower. She actually has a nursery in California, and she's at MJ BizCon this week. So we'll talk to her about the whole clone thing with the hemp bill. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So tune in 420 always, Monday nights on YouTube. And if you haven't watched I didn't do it last week. The week before, it was a dahlia farmer here in Spokane that I'm also helping with real estate. And like I said, holler at your girl, like, share, subscribe, all of the things. Have a wonderful night. Happy Thanksgiving. I am grateful for each of you. And we are out.